Thursday the 30th of March. The shop is relatively clean. Yesterday I was able to get a lot done. Basically the horizontal stabilizer, except for the backorder parts that we talked about, is ready to do parts prep and get ready for riveting. I read through the plans all over again for the horizontal stabilizer, specifically riveting the horizontal stabilizer, and I can actually get a lot of it done without those backorder brackets and bearings. Those all attach to the rear spar, and in the riveting sequence, attaching the rear spar is the very last part, which means that today will be a fairly long day of parts prep, because those skins, ribs, spars, all of that need edge finishing, deburring, priming. But once that's done, tomorrow I'll be able to actually start attaching the skins to the ribs and the front spar assembly. The rear spar will remain detached, unattached, whatever you want to call it, until those things come in, which means that when that's done, I have the vertical stabilizer, and then I can fart around doing the fiberglass tips. But once the vertical stabilizer is done, it might be a good time to start moving all of the mostly completed parts into the house and moving the wing kit out of the boxes onto the shelves and to start on that. So that's exciting. Anyways, I'll cut it off here, and today will be a objectively boring day of parts prep. It's not that fun, but it's a really big part of the job, and obviously it's super important. So anyways, stay tuned. Definitely nothing exciting about parts prep, especially once you've done it a few hundred times. Although I did get a box from Aircraft Spruce here in this video, and the first thing you saw me looking at was a chunk of foam that I ordered that will be, I guess, necessary when I get into the fiberglass work. And then the other thing is the deburring / countersinking tool with a long handle that you see me using right there. I showed it to you a couple of videos ago. It's really like the most basic deburring tool, but when I bought my toolkit from Cleveland, I opted for the deburring tool that attaches to an electric screwdriver, which is great, especially, with these pre-punched kits. There are not a lot of burrs. These are often really clean holes, and when you do the final size drilling with a reamer, you're probably not creating any burrs. So it's good to give them a quick once over, but of course you don't want to take away any material. But that other tool, turns out it's really handy, for example, getting the inside holes on the inside of the flanges of those spars, reaching across where that fat electronic screwdriver wouldn't be able to fit in there. Now getting into the prep of the skin, I think I was talking through it when, I'm doing it here on the left skin, the edge finishing with Vixen file, and then cleaning it up with a edge finishing tool and I think some Scotch-Brite. And then I'm sure you noticed that on one skin I have the blue vinyl still on, the other skin is completely clean. The first skin I worked on is this one right here, the left one, and I pulled all the vinyl off, and then later I decided I would try using the soldering iron to preserve some of the blue while I was building it, and I've already told you a couple times what a pain in the butt that is. However, in terms of building this horizontal stabilizer, I decided to leave one with and one without, because there was no mistaking which one was the left and which one was the right. When I was building this, and then when I have both halves connected and I'm flipping it over and turning it around and everything like that, left and right are pretty obvious to me. To you, left is clean, right has blue. So scuffing all of the parts that are going to be part of this horizontal stabilizer assembly. Again, a boring process. Scuffing and then cleaning. I just use a mild detergent to once I've scuffed them to get them clean until the water sheets off clean, and then dry it, and then go over it again with acetone. And the GoPro portion of this will finish with me doing this. I'll kind of walk off camera, take the stuff outside, prime it, let it cure for a while, and then I'll get into the other part of parts prep, which is getting all of those pieces dimpled and ready to be reassembled for riveting, finally, after months of having this thing in my shop. So here we get into dimpling. The table, I mean, it's obviously my two work tables, and we've talked before about the little mini shelf that sits between them, so that the top of the DRDT2 sits flush. And you can see that I made it so that the tabletop is flush with the dimple die out on the jaws of the DRDT2. So I took some foam core, maybe, I don't know, a quarter or half an inch, and glued that to the DRDT2, and then put carpet over the top. There, you can see it there. But that's how I got that thing set up. And just for safety, when I have this thing set up, I do clamp the two tables together just to, I don't know, earthquakes in Texas, I doubt it, but just to make sure that while I'm working, the tables don't work themselves apart and the thing drops down in the middle. This is, as I stated at the beginning of this video, a very boring kind of process, but to be honest, lots of times it's kind of cathartic, just simple processes over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. It's actually one of the things that appealed to me about building when I started really looking into it. So I joked that it's boring, and it is. It's a lot of repetitive operations, but yeah, I don't know. There are parts of it that I kind of actually enjoy. So I use the rivet squeezer to do a rivet squeezer. I use the pneumatic squeezer to do all the dimpling that can be reached. So anything basically within 2.5, 3 inches of the edge. It's just a better, easier, cleaner tool to use to do that. And these little cradles turned out to be super easy to build, super handy. You can see that I kept them all as individual pieces rather than tying them all together. I actually kind of like that because it just makes them more versatile. I can set them up however I like on the table, including varying the distance between the two halves, so that if any one of them, if one of those happens to be interfering with a rib that I'm working on or whatever, I can simply scoot it over. So it's come in handy. I don't know if any of you folks follow Plane Lady on YouTube, but I ran into her and her husband a few months ago at the airport, and they said by the time this is done, you're going to have more clamps than you can imagine. And I think they're right. Right now, I only have 10, and I think that as I get into the wing build, I'll wish I had 30. So it's one of those things that you just sort of pick up every time you walk into Harbor Freight. So, yep, the skins are all dimpled. Now just moving on to the spars, dimpling the flanges of the spars. And that means that this thing will be pretty much wrapped up and ready for, I think I said it in the intro, ready for riveting the skins on. If I didn't say it, I'll say it again here. After another look at the plans, I realized that the rear spar wouldn't keep me from riveting the skins on because it's literally the last thing to be attached to the horizontal stabilizer. So I think I get this stuff all finished up in this evening, and then the next day, which would be the 31st of March, I'll get to riveting the skins on, which is it excites me and it also terrifies me because at this point I still haven't felt really confident with bucking rivets, and this is going to be the first true test where I have to do a lot of bucked rivets. So if you're curious about that, tune into the next episode, see how that goes. But that'll do it for the workshop today. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff.